Rolling around at the desert world. Got places to go there, and my god, it's so hard because it's summer season. And they will know what. I just messed up my lyrics for that particular alternative version for Escape from the Desert or something. So, oh well, I guess I need to fix that lyrics next time. So, hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Duffy Duck here once again, and I'm back for some more of yet again for the likes of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to my Let's Play of Yoshi's Woolly World / Poochie and Yoshi's Woolly World for Nintendo Wii U / Nintendo 3DS. So, last time we actually did manage to complete with the forms of World 1-S, and especially noticeable we did manage to able to, get things started with World 2. So even then though, as you can see off screen, yes, I did manage to able to get some of these star icons, not only for those 2 levels as you can see right there, but it's also on World 1-S as well. So even then though, because I don't feel like showing off the levels again in case if I miss out anything else. So yeah, today for this episode is the fact that we're about to be continuing things on with World 2, and let us get this thing to it on the next fortress level. So even then though, I apologize with the actual awkward pauses during the actual recording session because, well, recently I'm just kind of a little bit thirsty. So, not wing the Cooper's Fort, so in this case, World 2-4. So even then though, I'm guessing we might actually come across into a different mini-fight. So even then though, because we've already done the big Multica from the first world before, so I'm guessing we now have to deal with a different foe from the likes of, I would say, when it comes to the forms of, each and every single of those, fort levels, well, specifically in the odd number ones, basically, we need to fight against with that giant mole, boss fight every time, and, that could be, say, applies for the even numbers, like, for instance, 2, 4, or 6, well, I'm not going to mention about these things too much about it, because even then, though, I'm not going to get into more details onto that specifically. So even then, though, as usual, we need to go after every single of those collectibles, specifically those, smiley flowers and all that stuff. And I'm afraid at this point, folks, is the fact that this is the part where I need to able to actually go after this, although this particular part is already uploaded and during the likes of it today was the 11th of July in 2019. So even then though, I guess kind of think about it, one thing I should probably explain about this is the fact that, well, I'm also able to let Sonic and Pinkie Pie will mention more details about some more stuff in the future though, or perhaps even maybe that this is a part where I'm actually going to be stop playing this game for a little bit of while, because obviously with the current Let's Plays we are still currently doing for the time being, like I'm still mainly focusing on Super Mario Galaxy 2 for now on though, and especially noticeable with how the fact that, well, Sonic still needs to get back onto Kingdom Hearts Final Mix, but even then though, yes, got some progressioning though, like he got into Neverland and all that stuff, which originally he was going to do Atlantica from The Little Mermaid, but he might not do that just yet though, because it's a little bit more hard to explain sometimes. So even then though, you probably get the idea of what I'm going to talk about for this point right there. So yeah, anywho though, so basically, as you can see right here, we actually stumbled across these Koopa Troopers / Paratroopers, as you can see right there. Differently from any other enemies, specifically for those shark guys, as you can see right there. Every time you've swallowed up the actual Koopa Trooper, or Paratrooper to be more precise, you can actually just manage to use the actual red shell to actually act out as a projectile. So even then, that way you could able to actually toss some of the stuff onto that specific enemies, and especially noticeable with some hidden goodies and all that stuff. So you probably get the idea of how this level was going to be, represented in. So even then, it will be mainly the thing until in the future points of this game. So even then, let's just not get ahead of ourselves just yet. So even then, and as you can see, we actually come across into a whole group of shark guys with these spears on it. So even then, we need to take them down by simply just able to using that Koopa shell. So even then, you can't also manage to able to let that Koopa Trooper shells stop moving by simply able to toss it up, because if you manage to able to spew out from side by side, it doesn't really matter if it's either left or right or anything. basically what happens is though is the fact that you're able to let the shell go back and forth between the actual wall. But in order to actually just stop, is that, well, obviously it's how to use your tongue, and you can able to actually just aim it upwards, so that way you can able to actually stop the shell that way. So yeah, I just want to classify that. So I get a feeling that I might be missing something, because I get a strong feeling that this particular smiley flower will have to be the third one. Yep, it's the third one. I can't believe how the fact that it's been such a quiet few days, or in this case, for this matter, it's been about 5 months since I actually coming back into this game. So because of that though, I do apologize with the actual, you know, lack of exploration going on here, because even then, I did so well back in during the likes of in World 1, but for whatever reason, and during World 2 and onwards, this is why I get a little bit of a struggle with, exploration sometimes, I will admit though, but even then though. Oh, we come across into these, 8-bit renditions of some of these, well, I think we already mentioned about this before, at least ever since for about, a few months ago, I'm assuming. But now we have these 8-bit renditions of these red Koopa shells. So, but then again, you can't actually eat them, because even then though, they are completely vulnerable to pretty much everything for the most part though. So even then though, let's go ahead and take care of these every single of those Koopa Troopers in one hand, especially with the actual shells included. And oh gosh, that was pretty close for that part. So anyway though, so let's go and get ourselves the 4th smiley flower. Well, to be more accurate, the 3rd smiley flower, because even then though, I didn't explore hard enough, I don't think. So even then though, but regardless of such, we did manage to able to gather some of those Meatverse stamps, especially noticeable with well, thankfully though, we did manage to keep our health alive. So even then though, hopefully though, whenever we get to the next boss in the game, hopefully we did not take damage as much. So, well, until later on anyway though. So even though, let's go and get some more hearts right there. It might be seems redundant at the moment right now, but either way though, it's not too noticeable, I don't think. So anyways, let's go and grab out these blocks there, in case there are some secret stuff I need to be found around here. So even though, but then again, if I actually missing on something in the level, well, after this particular levels or this video is done, then, well, I will able to actually find that at the very end of the videos. So even though, you probably get the idea where this system goes. So alright, so we already got about 2 more of those woolly stuff left. So even though we're getting almost towards that specific point right there. But then again, as far as later levels, as far as I'm concerned, most of the levels of this game every now and then is going to get much more longer than ever before right now. So even though that, chances are this is the only reason why that when it comes to some of my recording sessions on during Yoshi's Woolly World Let's Play, is the fact that I'm most likely going to be focusing on 4 levels each video, because, well, with more than that, it will make it a little bit more dragged on at points. So let's see what's in here. Okay, so we have ourselves another piece of wool over there, so that's pretty nice. And I get a feeling that we're pretty much running out of those little you know, woolly balls, so we just have to be able to actually gather some more, which we've already got some more. But every now and then we need to hit back, and we're not going to get into that door just yet though, because otherwise then I need to see what's in those hidden clouds, or in this case the question mark clouds, as far as I'm aware. So even then I basically already double checked in here, because it contains the actual first smiley flower, so there's no point for able to actually get into that specific stuff. So, yeah, you probably get the idea about the fact that with, specifically for it comes to, like, in some schedules with, Yoshi's Woolly Worlds, and that could be same applies for my, Pac-Man World Let's Play, which, fundamentally, though, I must even get back into that game, and during, I would say at some point in October or September, because even then I will just have to, like, mainly focus on Galaxy 2, and especially noticeable with, you know, Sonic needs to get back onto NES Remix 2 after about a year ago. So even then, I'll let Sonic able to actually get back into that game exponentially for this month. So even then, though, that's the only reason why I was going to mention about that right now. That until at this point and onwards, even though Sonic and Pinkie Pie needs to still need to get onto Super Mario Party during the weekday, or the weekends rather. But even then, though, they've only got about 3 more weekends left. until the actual Let's Play is about to be finished. So even then though, because of that though, I can't even believe that we're actually getting quite close towards the end of, you know, Super Mario Party Let's Play. What do you expect? So, there is we got some more beats, especially noticeable with that Miiverse patch, and we got some more hearts here, and hopefully though, things should be able to actually not feel as complicated as it looks. So, and by the way, if you managed to gather the, that particular smiley flower, specifically the, that one I just managed to go from above, well, if you fell down by those, little, flippers, if you couldn't tell, well, it takes you back all the way to the beginning, so I just want to classify that. And taking notice from any other 2D Mario games, well, we need to do a little bit of an enemy bounce going on right there with a well-timing jump. And similarly to the star coins from New Super Mario Bros. Or something, we need to use the Koopa shells to be able to toss that into the actual flower, because even though that also counts too. So, just want to classify that. Alright, so let's go ahead and gather some last 2 beats here, and we actually got every single of those Miiverse stamps. So, yeah, it's not too bad though. Well, except for the fact that I was missing, one smiley face, but, again, all the smiley flowers or something like that. So, even then, I will, be back more onto that as soon as we're able to actually conclude, 4 levels apiece. So, now time for the boss fight. Excuse me, I've got something in my throat there. I do apologize for that. Alright, so let's see here. Eek! Still think you can mess with my plans? This is as far as you can go. Not wing, you're up. Swoop from above and squish that Yoshi. So you're gonna use that Koopa Paratrooper, sorry, and then transform into himself, Not Wing. So this is Not Wing, and basically all you need to do in this boss fight is very simple. Basically, well, we can't use the actual, woolly balls for the time being, so we need to be able to put up with, some sort of a timing aspect, as you can see right there. And then basically, every time he decides to squish you, it's your chance to able to actually eat up the actual, you know that white ribbon that is usually attached from the back of the actual shell? Well, that's the only weak spot, so even then though, that way you can able to do that, but what you do with that, then his true weak spot was actually in his stomach, so even then though, because you can tell from that little cross bandage, so again, you have to do it like 3 times, like 3 hits and all that stuff, so even then though, this boss fight is very simple and easy, but until the future worlds, it will get a little bit more slightly tougher with different stimulations and all that stuff, so even then though, chances are we might actually come across into the harder versions of some of these exact same boss fights here and there sometimes. So even then though, let's go in and deal with him for the final hit, and boom, he's down. And then usual, we got ourselves some more beads to top of the love, and that was about it for level 2-4, even though again I haven't exactly got every single items, I'm afraid, just because I was missing one of those you know, smiley flowers. So even though again we'll be back onto that whenever we get to the very end of this video, so even then I just want to classify that. So there we go. So I believe we're actually on the halfway point in World 2 already, so even then though, that you know, hopefully we can able to gather some of these items as much as we could. So even then though, and let's see what we got. We got ourselves a new power badge, which that could be useful in some parts, especially noticeable on the 6th level that we can actually get into. But first of all, let me just see what's in here. Ashrin Yoshi. So I don't know if I can able to equip that honestly, because most of the time though, especially noticeable with how the fact that, well, usually I'm always going to be showing off actually, no matter what though, since I might as well able to actually keep on moving, even though I would appreciate if how the fact that I could able to show off that's Yoshi, but unfortunately though, I'm as well able to actually skip him as this, because I'm as well able to save something special until later on though, especially when how you know, this game actually has amiibo functionality. So anyway, so next level we have is Spiky Stroll. So even then though, because you know, this level is filled with spikes, so even then though, how do we able to come across into that? Well, I guess we'll just have to able to figure out the actual, well, specific matter. So even then though, let's just go ahead and, gather some more of those, Woolly Walls there and all that stuff. I think I've actually recognized this music actually, because there was actually that one time I managed able to play on my own time, which is called Mario Party 2 play on the actual PC download. And what I've noticed is that whenever I get to the forms of I would say the Desert Ruins level or the Desert Ruins board, that particular music, well, I'm talking about the latest version of Mario Party 2 play, because the previous version they did manage to use for the actual, you know, the background music they actually use is, Mario Party 3 Spiny Desert. So even then though, that, in the latest version, they did manage to able to use this particular music from Yoshi's Woolly World, and I was like, I've definitely heard of that music before, even though at first I thought it was actually kind of new to me, which there could be some replies onto that castle level in Mario Party 2 play on the actual PC Flash game download, and as a result though, that particular music was actually based off from, well, Fire Emblem Awakening. Well, not so much Fire Emblem Awakening, but it's more accurately from the Fire Emblem music from Super Smash Bros. And all that stuff. So, that's pretty cool though, but even then I'll mention more on that in another time, or in this case, whenever we hopefully try and able to actually play that game at some point or another. So, anyways though, so we have Poochie right here. So even then though, that just like if you remember from Yoshi's Island and all that stuff, well, much like any forms within Yoshi's Island, we need to able to actually use him for specific advantage right there. Like specifically, like you can able to actually ride onto him, or you can able to actually just let him help you out to able to gather some more items here and there and all that stuff. So even then, the reason why I'm actually kind of trying to do that right there is because I need to grab that smiley flower right there. And luckily though, if Poochie managed to able to actually grab this thing, well, he can able to actually take it back for you. So pretty good way to able to actually farm more of those these little smiley flowers though, until Yoshi's Crafted World, which we'll get to that during next year, well, after this Let's Play is finished, first of all, is the fact that we're gonna have to grab a lot, I mean a lot, of smiley flowers as much as we can. So because of this though, you probably get the idea what I'm gonna say about this here. So anyway, so I believe we need to ground pound here, just for the sake of like some of these accessible parts for Poochie right here, so hopefully that makes it a little bit obvious for that point. So, of course, we do need to use Poochie this whole time for this level, because even then though, because as soon as we come across into those spikes, even though, luckily though, unlike in Yoshi's Island and Yoshi's Island DS, and heck, even with Yoshi's New Island, is that unlike those three games, is the fact that if you dare touch the spikes, you're instantly dead. Well, just like it informs of how it does it on, well, spikes in, Sonic the Hedgehog and stuff. Well, to be more specifically, with, the original Sonic the Hedgehog 1, where basically that you don't have any of these invincibility frames if you get hit by 2 spikes in a row. Whilst, thankfully though, on the Christian Whitehead version, they did manage able to fix that issue, so unless if you're able to actually activate the actual level select code. So even then though, because I always love to do that on, whenever I replay through Sonic 1 all over again on 2013 version of that game, and basically I can able to actually replay through that game at all times, like, you know, you probably get the idea for that. So anywho though, because unlike in, well, Yoshi's Island, well, specifically the Yoshi's Island trilogy of all things, like Yoshi's Island the original, as well as Yoshi's Island DS, and especially noticeable with Yoshi's New Island, then Spikes instantly kills Yoshi. Because thankfully though, in this game in particular, well, I haven't really discovered that for myself right there, but from what I've noticed is the fact that you're no longer going to be instantly die by that. So you know, you classify for that. So even though, what you can do with these particular, although kind of think about it, these enemies are very similar to the forms of how it does it. I would say in Yoshi's Island DS or something like that, although it has been such a long time since I actually played some of these Yoshi's games for quite some time. So even then though, because, well, I'm usually gonna have to save things up until whenever I decide to do some completionist when it comes to Yoshi's games. Like, for instance, that, I still need to get back into Yoshi's Island, the original game, due to, well, thankfully though, I managed to got that on my SNES Classic Mini, because now I don't need to worry about trying to able to get the original cartridge for it, because, the original cartridge version of that game was actually slightly pricier than the forms of how it does it in most Super Nintendo games nowadays, and I get a feeling that it might actually contain the end of a level right there, so I probably will not able to worry about this for the time being, so we'll just go ahead to grab that little piece of wool over there, and of course, since you actually grabbed the actual piece of wool over there, basically you can able to actually let Poochie join along with you, so yeah, it looks like I'm still missing not only those two, well actually 7 or no, 3 of those Miiverse patches or something, but we'll figure this out, so yeah, in order to actually get to the Lakitu's Cloud, on the other hand, though, is the fact that we do need to able to use the Woolly Ball, and then you can able to use that as your advantage to able to trap him out, and, yeah, I think that's about it for, Spiky Stroll. So even then, though, let's go ahead and do, oh, nice little ending parts for the actual, like, fluttering, or in this case, propelling, towards the very end of the level by, riding onto that, Lakitu Cloud. And of course, much like in any other, 2D Mario games, is that, if you manage to able to ride on a cloud for a long time, well, basically, it'll able to actually decide to flicker for a few seconds, and then, by all means, by that, well, this means about the fact that the cloud itself will disappear for about a few seconds notice, so, you know, it's a bit like the same thing for how it does in most 2D Mario games, so you probably get the idea. So anyways, there we go, ourselves the bonus game right here, which again, I'm also able to not waste my time on that part, because even then I always have to move on to the next level, so even then though, yeah, that's as far as I can gather, so even then though, let's just go ahead and get ourselves 1,650 of those beats, which is actually not that bad of the amount, but, well, obviously I've already just managed to able to gather some of them, so, but anywho though. Alright, so that does it for that, and I get a feeling that we might actually unlock, the next, different skin of Yoshi, so, and also same applies by those, stamp patches, so even then, and also we got ourselves a new power badge, which basically we can now able to actually use, Poochie from everywhere else, so even then though, that way we can able to use him for specific advantage, and speaking of Poochie actually, we got ourselves Poochie Yoshi, so even then though, because of that though, yeah, this is what happens if you manage to able to see Shin Yoshi for the first time here. So even then though, we'll switch over to Poochie Yoshi onto the next level right here, which is World 2-6, Lava Shaves and Red Hot Sparks, which apologize for the actual pronunciation error, because even then though, I just wanna classify that. So anyways, let's go ahead and use, we'll show off this particular badge right there, even though it might be game breaking for those of you who ever experienced lava levels basically, so even then though, we'll show this off just in case. So yeah, for this particular badge I managed to equip with the one where you have to able to actually, like, you see that little green arrow with the actual lava and stuff, or the fire? Well, this means is the fact that since we actually on the lava themed level, this means we are completely invulnerable to fire, even everything fire, like the actual lava, and especially with those lava sprouts, and especially noticeable with, to top it all off, that, well, you don't necessarily get hit by the actual fire stuff. So, again, it's a little bit of a game breaking, but honestly, guys, want to able to show this off, just for the sake of the forms of, for those who have not even able to actually look upon, several badges worth noting for, and basically, if you really want to go after everything, well, that'll make a game way too easy for my liking, so, but anyway, though, so let's go ahead and, keep on going up right there. Man, this music does really rock, though, especially noticeable of how the fact that, well, obviously it's, you know, a lava-themed level, quote-unquote, so, yeah, you probably get the idea about that, so, by the way, we actually come across into those little, tilted platforms, if you couldn't tell right there, and basically, if you manage to able to let the actual, tilted platform go all the way down to the lava, sometimes you will admit though right away is the fact that there's actually spikes over there, so even then though, if you manage to let the actual, you know, the platform itself tilted all the way downwards, basically what happens is though, it now transforms into the forms of, well, just the actual spike in general, and then you might as well able to get hit by that, so easily straight off the bat. So anyway, so let's go ahead and keep on things moving, and just get some more woolly balls to top it all off, and let's see what's in this thing right here, which kind of thing about it, we have ourselves yet another of those. Oh, we got ourselves the returning enemies from the you know, ever since during the likes of been any other Yoshi's Island games, basically, including Yoshi's Story and all that stuff. Unfortunately, though, I haven't got myself Yoshi's Universal Gravitation, which I'm also able to give that game a go. Which, truth be told, for this point, guys, I think Yoshi's Universal Gravitation will have to be one of the final Game Boy Advance games I might actually consider getting. So, oh crap, I just got hurt. So yeah, that's what happens right there, because even then out there, you might as well able to actually get hit by that specific spiky pointy thing right here if you're most able to, like, you know, tilt the actual platform all the way downwards. So you just have to be very careful about that at all times. So anywho though, of course we need to double check on these little hidden walls over there, just for the sake of, like, you know, these little textures that you can able to actually push them. Well, you can just simply just double check them unless there are some secrets you missed. So but anywho though, so but then again, there's not much else we can really talk about this at this point in time, folks, unless if Sonic and Pinkie Pie were able to mention more details onto that specific new stuff until when it gets to the point of Super Mario Party and stuff, or in this case, for this matter, I'll let Sonic mention more on that until whenever he gets back onto, you know, NES Remix 2. So even then though, because of that though, you know, it's been such a, you know, a long time since we actually did manage to able to come back onto NES Remix 2, kind of thing about it, because, you know, it's been about the entire year since the last upload, since, like, part 6 or something. Like, last time he did manage to go through for, NES Remix 2, which is, of course, you know, Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link set of challenges, and especially noticeable with Punch-Out challenges. So that was the last time he did manage to able to go back into. So even then though, that the only thing he needs to do now is of course Metroid and Remix 2 set of stages, and especially noticeable with some of these bonus stages. And not only that, he needs to be able to actually just go through the mirrors, no, not the mirror, the Rainbow Star runs as well to top it all off. Even though I don't think he actually come across into so many of those missing Rainbow Stars fundamentally though, but until, like, some frustrating challenges that he always attempts to go through, like, for instance, in Warrior's Woods and stuff like that. Oh my god, that really drives him mad. Even because of the fact that sometimes controls themselves, it can be really confusing at times, I will admit though. But either way though, that was it for levels 2-6, because as you can tell from this last part right there, we're getting chased by that particular lava, I can't remember exactly what that particular lava enemy name was, because I know it's been quite a long time since I actually coming back into Yoshi's Woolly World, basically, for, not only for the sake of my, own time for, the 3DS version, which, of course, although, speaking of the 3DS version, originally, I was going to able to show you guys the Poochie levels in, specifically after completing the midway point, or in this case, the halfway through point, for each world, but I've decided able to save up until the extras videos, or in this case, extra videos for, specifically Yoshi's Woolly World, or especially noticeable in Poochie in Yoshi's Woolly World, so to speak. So, that's why I've managed to able to decide to say that. So, anyways, the next level we have, and I think this will be the last level we'll do from now on though, for the sake of this video, and probably the actual massive delay for able to actually coming back into this particular Let's Play for the time being. Because of that though, we'll let Sonic get back onto, you know, NES Remix 2, so you probably get the idea for that point, So anyway, World 2-7, we have the Desert Pyramid Beacons. So even then though, because of this though, there's gonna be a lot of, like, different rooms to able to actually just to go ahead and take through. And also, we actually come across into those, Mummy Shy Guys, which basically behaves exactly like how it did for those dry bones from those, Mario games, basically, where basically they behave exactly like the dry bones, but except unlike dry bones, well, basically, they basically act out as mummies. So even though every time you stomp them, then basically after a few seconds worth noting for, then basically he'll just able to actually go back up again. So even though that might be a little bit more observation right there. So we got some more hearts to topple off right here, and especially noticeable with these little swoop bats. And let's not forget about to ourselves, oh yeah, there's the main gimmick of the forms of you know, this level entirely, and that was the forms of the, you know, with these little flame plates or the flame balls, as you can see right there. Well, that was the main point of this level, because even then though, until later on though, whenever we get some of these, get to those, puzzle segments from time to time, well, we do need to be able to use these at all times, just for the sake of, like, some puzzle solving. So even then though, before we, continue from this point, let's not forget to ourselves that, specific, piece of wool over there, and let's go ahead and get onto that green pipe. But then again, if you accidentally missing out on that, well, then again, about the fact that you can't able to actually backtrack if you access that pipe earlier ago. So even then, I just want to classify that. So anyway, so let's go ahead and activate this, and because of this though, we can able to actually open up something mysterious around here. Stuff like these 4 padlocks, as you can see right there, and especially noticeable between these 2 warp pipes, if you couldn't tell. It doesn't really matter which ones you go approach. So this is how this level's gonna play out. Basically, we come across into those 4 different methods you can able to go to. From in order to actually get to this door over there, we need to collect about 4 of those keys, and 4 of those keys might be a little bit more accessible when it comes to the forms of 4 different areas, like specifically each with its different sections. Like for instance, for example, I'm gonna be going after the first key, which is usually located in down here. And because of that though, we need to figure out the actual flames puzzle, which as you can see, we actually come across into this first flame puzzle, as you can tell. And basically what we need to do in this part is that, well, we need to flame them, all of them, or in this case, trying to light those up. So even then, luckily though, there is no time limit or anything like that, because if you manage to spend on that for too long, well, at least ever since Stranger likes to have been, well, similar to the forms of the Klonoa games, like specifically Klonoa Daughter Phantom Isle for the PlayStation 1 or the Nintendo Wii version. Like, if you spend long enough on that specific puzzle switches and all that stuff, well, basically the actual switches will able to actually get ourselves a timeout or anything like that. So then if you manage to solve these puzzles and all that stuff with the actual flames, well, if you manage to light them all, then you can able to actually get yourselves a key. So you can end up that the actual keys themselves will be used until you get to that big door. So because of that though, again, you need to get all 4 keys in order to actually continue your progression. So yeah, because I can definitely tell this is going to be one of the longer levels of the game, because of the actual you know, we need to grab all the 4 keys in each of these sections right there. Well, as enjoyed later on though, it gets ridiculously long as you progress. Even if you really want to go after every single collectibles, well, more power to you, because even then though, if you manage to do all this kinds of stuff, well, you can definitely tell how this is going. So let's not activate this just yet though, because I need to save that up until whenever we you know, got all 4 keys and all that stuff. Well, it doesn't really matter though, because until later on though, I'll explain more on that later. But for now on though, we got ourselves, you know, another piece of wool over there. But once again folks, I do apologize for the actual lack of dialogue for this point. Well, until when it gets to the point until like, next couple of weeks or so, especially notable when I can you know, get back onto Super Mario Galaxy 2 and all that stuff, so that way I could able to actually like, you know, focusing on some more stuff here and there though, especially notable how the fact that well, there was some news we'd like to talk about, but then again, I'll let Sonic be able to mention more on that on the actual continuation Let's Play for a long time, since 2018, which is, you know, NES Remix 2. So that's why I decided able to mention about that specific stuff in one hand. So anyway, so we've managed to accomplish that. So even though I don't really think in these specific rooms like this, I really can't guarantee there won't be any secrets around here. So even though that yeah, the only time it makes it a little bit more secrecy when it comes to like finding these kinds of stuff like this is that, well, obviously you need to like wander around all over the place when it comes to different sections of this specific stuff like this. So anyways though, and also the returning obstacles from the likes of in the original Yoshi's Island, especially with Yoshi's Island DS, and heck, even with Yoshi's New Island, is that we have ourselves these returning numbered platforms, which every time you come across into these platforms, if you couldn't tell, every time you jump off the platform, the actual number will decrease as every time you jump off the platforms and all that stuff. So, and unfortunately though, because I accidentally managed able to miss out on that specific piece of wool over there, This means luckily though, every single object, or in this case the actual obstacles, including enemies themselves, actually respawn. So even then though, that way you can able to actually retry these segments from time to time if you go to like different sections, or in this case go back onto that previous section again. So even then though, I think this is the 5th one, so I'm pretty sure we're missing out the 2nd one and the 4th one exponentially too, which again we'll find those until later on though. So even then though, I think we'll get the point right there. So let's go and get some more of those hearts here. And in order to actually go back to the actual main point right there, is the fact that there's actually this little hidden alcove right there, and basically, oh, I'm way too far back, because I get a feeling that since I've managed to deplete it, those numbered platforms, yeah, I need to able to actually go back to the previous room, and then just have to retry that specific platform section again. So yeah, I'm basically way too far back for that specific point right there, especially when I need to deal with the next flame puzzle and stuff. So even then though, and I missed my jump, so screw you on that part. But then again, it might be taking me a lot of practices, even when it comes to like using my Wii U Pro controller at the moment. So because of that though, I probably should be able to actually just get a little bit more coincidence anyway though, when it comes to that specific stuff. So anyways though, so let's go ahead and take care of these little swoop bats, and hopefully though, we can able to enter this door and just solve the 3rd flame fire puzzle. So yeah, because every time you're able to actually see where some of these flames are actually light up with those specific parts, like for instance right here, well, I don't think you can able to see it that well, because obviously because of you know, the light. Oh yeah, there we go. So yeah, every time you see this little bottom part lights up for the actual flame ball, this means you've actually managed to like activate it. So and then when it goes like, you know, completely off, well, it doesn't really matter though, because even then though that, well, as soon as you accomplish that puzzle, well, you have that key for good. So even then though, because even then though, yeah, you probably get the idea of how this goes. So anyways, now let's head back here and just take a nice little breeze, little shortcut right there, and there we go. That way we can able to actually move on to the 4th and the final flame puzzle right here. So even then though that it won't be nearly as hard or complicated or anything like that. Well, unless if you figure out the actual memorization when it comes to the actual like spewing out the flames, as far as I'm aware, with the actual placement and stuff. So even then, it might take some time to able to actually get used to with that specific stuff. But anyway, anywho though, so oh yeah, one thing I would like to mention about this, even though I'm not going to mention about more details onto that, specifically whenever I get back onto Super Mario Galaxy 2 tomorrow, that until by that time tomorrow, that since you know the game called Mario and Luigi Dream Team Brothers, or in this case Mario and Luigi Dream Team for most any other countries and all that stuff, so yeah, you probably get, oh, okay, thank you. I guess, well, we probably won't need that specific flamethrower until whenever we activate that specific fireball right there. So even then, I'll let that particular flammable enemy can do the job. Huh. Okay, thank you for that. So anyways though, so yeah, you know that game called Mario and Luigi Dream Team / Dream Team Brothers? Is the fact that that game will be basically pretty much being released for about 6 years now, and same applies with, you know, the Disney Pixar film called Monsters University, specifically in the UK version, because on the American version, that film has already been out for 6 years at this point for the American version of that film. But as far as our country is concerned, well, basically, I just managed to able to realize that, well, specifically that we almost at the 6-way mark from that. Oh, this is actually a second one. So we're missing the 4th, you know, the piece of wool over there. So even then, we'll definitely need to find out where that is. So, but this is going to be a lot of emphasis on, you know, backtracking when it comes to this level, because I can definitely tell this level is going to be slightly longer, because if you didn't find any of those, you know, some of these remaining collectibles, like specifically some smiley flowers, even though I will admit though the smiley flowers aren't that much hard to able to find them, but if you really want to go after those pieces of wool, or especially noticeable with specifically the actual Miiverse beads and all that stuff, well, unless if you memorize the actual layout and all that stuff, so I get a feeling that no, it's not hard enough. So But luckily though, this particular mummy shy guy were able to like go back up. And there we go, that's the 4th one. I believe the 5th and final one was actually at the very end of the level, basically. So even then, let's not worry about this for this point. So even then though, actually I just want to point things out, let's just go ahead and jump cut right here. So well, at least for the most part though anyway though. So even then though, yeah, it looks like we can't go back here because otherwise that's for progressioning's sake. So yeah, I guess we'll just have to keep on, like, go ahead and backtrack for a little bit. And as a result, though, we'll, just to see if there's anything else missing for this part right there. In fact, let me just go and activate the checkpoint right there, just in case that, yeah, we'll just activate the checkpoint in case there are some missing parts we're actually missing out of. So even then, we'll, go ahead and deal with all that. So let's go back up again, and looks like it doesn't seem like we have no answers of where the last pieces of wool is. So yeah, I guess I'll meet you guys back. Okay, so I do find out where that is, and in fact we need to hit back onto the exact same area as we already explored from before. And basically, you know these trios of pipes, specifically they actually respawn those shy guy mummy looking enemies. Well, basically there's actually this well hidden you know, question mark cloud and all that stuff, and then whenever we manage to get onto that specific point, and I think this is gonna be one of it. So yeah, there we go, this is the only piece of wall I'm actually missing out on. So even then I cannot even believe I just ignored that this whole entire time. And thankfully though, I think we're pretty much sorted as it is though, especially noticeable considering of, you know, get it? Because, you know, guessing everything can be a little bit of a multitasking to do. But anyway, since we've actually activated all 4 of those padlocks, this means we can now able to continue. So even then, let's see what's beyond, between those different parts around here. So even then, that, well, first of all, checkpoint right there. And second of all, there's, some more beads and stuff, especially with the Miiverse, stumps and stuff. And then from over here, there's nothing around here aside from that, the door, which is actually required for level progressioning. So even and before we do that, I think we'll highly suggest you to able to actually just go ahead and just get some more of those, yarn balls and stuff, just to make it a little bit more, well, easier as far as the actual, like, the final part as far as that's usually coming up. So even since we all sorted from now on though, and we'll go ahead and enter this door over there. And we are surely good to go for this part until we've actually come across into the actual lift / the elevator section. So even completely filled with the actual swoop bats, and especially noticeable with what else? Some obstacles along the way. Especially noticeable with well, let's say the entire you know, the entire portion of this particular level is that it's going to be like, wow, I wouldn't say bottomless pit heavy, but it's just that, you need to be so careful with those specific stuff. And let's not forget to mention about the forms of, the Miiverse patches and all that stuff. You really can't afford to miss those either, because if you do, well, you need to do the whole entire slog all over again. So, just want to classify that out of the way for this point right now. Again, I must admit that I do apologize for the lack of dialogue for this point, because I know for the fact that it's been, you know, couple of days since we actually just managed to come back to this. So even and I think the bottomless pit is going to be, most likely it's going to happen during right about now, well, until whenever we continue progression and going up. So even and that way we could able to actually avoid the entire bottomless pit from below. So anyways though, so let's go ahead and get the 19th Miiverse badge, and or in this case the actual the patch of anything like that, and we'll go after the last smiley flower. And I believe the last Miiverse patch is actually at the very end of the level, which is specifically almost near to the goal. So even but first of all, we need to find the actual well hidden question mark cloud, which is usually in here. And when we activate that, then some whole gathers of bees manage to able to come down. And, of course, let's not forget to mention about the 20th and the final Miiverse patch. So, and there we go. I think that pretty much does it for this level. Even though it probably took me about, I would say 15 minutes or so. At least depends on if you're able to search those things well enough. So, But there we go, I think that pretty much does it for level 2-7, so, but then again, I could wish I could able to actually just, you know, do another level, which is, of course, the actual castle level, but unfortunately we didn't got enough time left for, you know, specific stuff. So even then, that's because of how the fact that, well, as I mentioned before, Sonic needs to get back into the forms of NES Remix 2 at some point in, next Tuesday. So because of that, though, of course we have Try 1 for free, which I think I'm actually gonna do that on, whenever I do a jump cut, whenever I managed able to finally found, the final smiley flower for, you know, level 2-4, and we've unlocked Skeleton Yoshi, which I'm actually going to be using that until this level, until the next video, at some point soon in September, or in this case, October, or it all depends on that, really. So, I'll meet you guys back onto level 2-4, and just decide to find the final of the smiley flower, so I'll meet you guys back. Which is true for that regard. Alright, so in this part right there, and if we jump up from here, and aim it up here, and there we go. So I'll meet you guys back at the world map. Alright, so that takes care of that level, completely filled with 100% to top level off. So, with that being said, we're gonna have the endings up at this point right there. So join me next time on Let's Play Yoshi's Woolly World, is the fact that we are about to be able to get on to level 2-8, which is specifically the next castle level, and after that we'll able to explore the special world in World 2, and eventually we'll go ahead and explore through World 3 after this. So, looks like we're almost at the halfway point of this game already, so see you guys then. Later, fellas.